What's going on, everybody? Conservative Eagle here. I do apologize for not posting more and more content as I promised I would be doing. I've been ill. There's also have been other work-related issues that have prevented me from doing so. I'm trying to keep back on track, but because there's a lot of stuff going on, and we need to get the facts out. We need to get the right facts out. Everybody that I've seen so far has not really posted content with facts. There's some people that have, but a lot of content on both sides on it has been emotional, and it's not doing a service to either side. You know me, I'm always about the intellectual content. I'm always about the facts. I'm not about, the left is trying to do this, blah, blah, left, this. Those right-wing white supremacists and so forth, blah, 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 blah. I'm not about that. I'm about the argument and the facts, and that's what I'm going to do. So, here I am. I'm back at it. I get home today, and I just start getting ready, getting my research done, waiting for my show this week with Talk. I'm trying to finish that video and upload that too, right? So I get home and start watching the outlets, and I always start with Univision because as a Latino, like I said, that's where we get most of our majority of information from. If it's not Univision, it's Telemundo. But I always start with Univision because we have my favorite pundit, Jorge Ramos. If there's something you know about me, I will be going after Jorge Ramos a lot. And because I have come to the simple conclusion that as long as Jorge Ramos reports on immigration, the Latino community will never be informed on immigration. It's plain and simple. It's plain and simple. This guy has no idea what he's talking about when it comes to the issue of immigration. No idea. No idea. He cannot distinguish between an illegal immigrant and a legal immigrant. He cannot distinguish as to who has the right to change immigration laws and what the president can do. For him, it's like all the same. There's no distinction. For him, he doesn't understand that our U.S. code system does not refer to illegal aliens as undocumented people. It refers to them as illegal aliens. That's what it is. U.S. code. Look it up if you don't believe me. That's what it is. He needs to get over his so-called political correct term of undocumented people. No humans are illegal argument. That is just asinine. Anyways, so I get home, and he starts reporting on the raids that happened in Mississippi. There was apparently the largest in a decade. I would have to confirm that, but he says that ICE went on a raids that basically arrested 700 people. 700 people. And then he starts going on his little silhouette to be like, well, a lot of families were separated and this and that, and this is troublesome because a lot of families are going to be in turmoil and all that. And I'm like, true, that's gonna happen. Families will be affected when you have ICE raids and they separate you from your family. But like Barack Obama's former ICE director said, well, we just applied the same U.S. code that's applied to when a person in the United States who's a citizen is separated from their children after they commit a crime. Ergo, if you cross the border illegally, you've committed a crime. Therefore, you are separated from your family. But of course, Jorge Ramos will never point to that. And like I said, this whole separation of families is unfortunate. Being separated from family is something I don't like seeing, but I'm also a U.S. citizen, and we follow our laws. And unfortunately, if you come to our country illegally, if your children are U.S. citizens and you're not, you will be separated. That is the law. But what am I getting to with Jorge? That either way, he's never satisfied with the actions taken by either Democrat or Republican presidents. He's never satisfied. And he's never satisfied. You know why? Because the issue has not been resolved. And you know why the issue has been resolved? Because he keeps talking to the wrong people. I've come to this conclusion. He keeps talking to the wrong people. And I'll play the clips in a little bit, but for him now is because Donald Trump is racist, and therefore Donald Trump wants to get rid of Latinos, and that's why Donald Trump is the way he is. But what happened between 2012 and 2013 under Barack Obama? Was Jorge Ramos still arguing the same things? And I'm going to reveal to you that, yes, that is the case. But look, I'm going to play to you the clip. And for you, there are Spanish speakers, you understand. And you will listen to the art clip. For you that are not Spanish speakers, I will give you a brief summary after the clip is over. But just for Spanish speakers, please listen to the following. This is how he talks about Donald Trump and us conservatives, or those who support Donald Trump. Basically, this is how he refers to us. So he's talking to his guests, who are Judy Gomez and Benigno Maldonado, who were detained by ICE. They were released and they were given a court date. And then basically his children are U.S. citizens because they were born here. They've been here for 11 years and so forth. So listen to how he talks to them and refers to conservatives as opposed to what he will say like a couple years ago.
No.
Benigno, ¿cuáles son los planes ahora? La gente que los está escuchando, muchos inmigrantes como ustedes, entendemos perfectamente que vinieron a trabajar a los Estados Unidos. Otros, como el presidente Donald Trump y muchos de sus seguidores, dicen que ustedes violaron la ley y que no se merecen estar en este país. ¿Qué le diría a ellos?
Pues tal vez violamos la ley en estar pues indocumentados, estar de inmigrantes acá. Pero lo único que venimos a nosotros aquí a este país, hacer el trabajo que ellos no quieren hacer.
Quiero que me cuenten, Benigno y Yuri, ¿qué van a hacer con sus hijos?
Okay, so that's enough. So in the span of 45 seconds, I don't know how long this clip was, the Benigno, admitted that his crime was to cross the border illegally. Therefore, we have admitted that we have committed a crime. But no one's disputing why you committed the crime. I know a lot of us in the Latino community, our parents or anybody in our family members, we have a lot of them that came here to find better jobs and so forth. Not the argument that we're making. In fact, that's what we want. We want people that are going to be hardworking and so forth to come to our country and provide and basically be an asset to our American community. But did you hear that question? What would you tell Trump and his supporters about that? Right? That's the question that I want you to pay attention. Because that did not only apply to President Trump. That kind of question. Let's go back to, I don't know, let's say, when was this? 2013. Here's an interview by Fusion. Okay, so the story between Fusion is it went from Univision had a sister channel called Fusion, and then Fusion, Univision, Telefutura, and then Fusion, and then I guess and then became online. That's the history of it. So this was during the time of Fusion, and here's Jorge Ramos on questioning President Barack Obama's actions on immigration after he issued an executive order to stop the deportation or easing the deportation of 5 million illegal immigrants, in which caused a lawsuit to be placed by 17 state governors. Yes, I'll go concede that a lot of them were Republican strongholds, Texas, Alabama, and so forth. But not the point I'm making. The point I'm making is listen to Jorge Ramos asking President Obama the following questions. Again, this is a majority will be in Spanish. I think actually this one's in English. But if it's in Spanish, I will translate again. But let's just listen right here.
17 governors filed a lawsuit against you, trying to block your executive decision on immigration. Are you concerned about being impeached?
No, because what we've done is not only lawful, based on the evaluations of the Office of Legal
So it is in
Counsel,
English.
but is of the same type of action that was taken by every Democratic and Republican president over the last 20, 30 years.
It's not that you changed your mind on this?
What
you were convinced otherwise?
What was clear was that we could reprioritize how we deploy the limited resources we have to focus on the borders, to focus on criminals. We began that process as soon as I came into office. One of the things that I think is important to understand it.
So, Congress gave me money to basically secure the border. That's what I did as president. Sound familiar?
Is that although we are reprioritizing to make sure that we're not in the business of separating families, we are still sending a message to people who have not yet come here. We're going to be enforcing those immigration laws so that newcomers, people who just arrive, you are likely to be sent back. And we're going to still be focused on making sure that, not just from Mexico, but anywhere around the world, that we can actually enforce better the laws that we have. In the meantime, the people who have lived here, let's make sure that they're treated as the members of our community that they truly are.
But if you, as you're saying, you always had the legal authority to stop deportations, then why did you deport 2 million people?
Jorge, we're not
For
going
6 years you
No,
did it. You
listen,
destroyed
Jorge,
many families.
Jorge,
Before you deported in chief.
deported in chief. I did not.
Deported in chief!
But let me say this, Jorge.
But you could have stopped.
That is not true. Listen, here's the fact of the matter.
You could have stopped them.
Jorge, here's the fact of the matter. As President of the United States, I'm always responsible for problems that aren't solved right away. I regret millions of people who didn't get health insurance before I passed health insurance and before I implemented it. I regret the fact that there are kids who should have been going to college during my presidency, but because we didn't get to them fast enough, they gave up on college. The question is, are we doing the right thing, and have we consistently tried to move this country in a better direction? And those, like you sometimes, Jorge, who suggest that there are simple, quick answers to these problems, I think no, yes, you do, because that's how you present it. And I think when you present it in that way, it does a disservice, because it makes the assumption that the political process is one that can easily be moved around depending on the will of one person, and that's not how things work. We spent that entire time trying to get a comprehensive immigration reform bill done that would solve the problem for all the people. So right now, by the actions that I've taken, I still have 5 million people who do not have the ability to get registered and be confident that they're not deported. In fact, what's going to happen sometime over the next 2 days, week, month, is that there are going to be some folks who are still caught up in the system because we have to go and train ICE workers so that they are responding in a different way. And so
Okay. Did y'all catch all that? Hopefully the volume was well enough for you guys to catch all that. But did you guys catch all that? Notice how Obama sounded a lot like Trump in that interview. We need to secure the borders. We don't have the necessary. We only work with what we got. We need comprehensive immigration reform. We need to stop people from coming because those people will be subject to the laws that we have to enforce. Why didn't he call Obama a racist? Like I've said over and over and over again, Jorge Ramos does a disservice. And those were the words of President Obama. I've said this before President Obama, that Jorge Ramos does a disservice to the Hispanic community because he does not understand the issue of immigration. He generalizes the entire Hispanic community as immigrants. And ergo, all immigrants do not belong to two categories. You're either an immigrant or you're not. Even if you're an illegal immigrant, you're still an immigrant. There's no distinction from him. And that's where the disservice is in. And there you have President Obama telling him, well, Jorge, there is a difference. And I have to follow the laws. Now, given at the time of this interview, President Obama blocking the deportation of 5 million people, yeah, well. He asked them, you could have stopped deportations at any time. You have the authority, if you want to go by this law, you have the authority If you have the authority to stop them, then why didn't you stop the deportations of 2 million people? He called him the deporter-in-chief, and he said, you know what, Jorge, I have to follow the laws. And not one time did he call him a racist. No. So in conclusion is this. Jorge Ramos does a disservice to the Hispanic community because he will never understand the distinction between a legal immigrant and an illegal immigrant in accordance to U.S. law. For him, they're all the same. And unfortunately for U.S. law, they're not the same. Ones will be entitled to protection under the law. The others will not. So you can put as many families as you have there, Jorge. You could bring the kids, trying to create the image of, oh, poor families are being separated. Get this through your head. And also to those who support people like Jorge Ramos, get this to your head. If you have an issue with our current immigration system, the president will not solve the issue. The president is not the authority that will solve this issue. You have a problem, call your senator, call your congressman, and tell them to get off their butts and fix immigration reforms. I'll even throw this one at you. You shoot me an email in a private message, I will get you the contact information to your senator and congressman so they can get out of their butts and fix immigration reform. And fix immigration, and through comprehensive immigration reform, because it's up to Congress to fix the issue, not the president. I don't care how many 2020 presidential candidates from the Democratic side will say, I will fix immigration. No, they will not. It's Congress. So like I said, if you want to fix it, if you guys are serious and you want to get beyond the, oh, he's racist, oh, he's dumb, and no. Shoot me a private email. Tell me where you live. And what city, like exactly the city. I will find the senator and congressman. I will shoot you back an email with their contact information so you can contact them and tell them, you know what, I'm tired of what I see in these so-called detention centers. I'm tired of not having true immigration reform. And perhaps then maybe we can get a pathway to true immigration reform that goes beyond the so-called petition acts, which are actually ridiculous. I'm not for petitions. If you want actions, you got to call your congressman and you got to call in multitudes. So like I said, the president is not the one to solve, it's Congress. And with that being said, guys, I'm Conservative Eagle. Like I said, I will try to post more content here and there as to what it comes across. And until then, also tune into my show MM Talk, and I'll see you guys soon.